everyone. Guess what? It turns out that we do have someone from TAG Environment, TAG, the Technical Advisory Group for Environmental Sustainability for CNCF, Sergio Mendez, who I think is on the call now.
Yes, I
Uh,
am here.
yeah, hey,
But
and
I think that we have to wait for Scott Rigby. I think so.
yeah, that's me. Hey,
Ah,
Sergio.
sorry. Nice to meet
No
you.
worries. Yeah, I'm here in person. Yeah, that's super awesome. Okay, so you're starting a little bit later than planned, about 15 minutes later, and I know you said that was okay.
Mhm.
Um, that means we have about what did we have? That means we have about 15 minutes skip tag environmental env updates. I think what I'm going to do is ask Robbie if he can be a little bit later because I just got a message from him that he is going to be joining remotely too.
Uh-huh.
So, do you mind if we go ahead and get started, and then I'll just update you on how much time we have left once I hear from him back from him?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Awesome. You're getting to see behind the curtain, everyone. Okay, awesome. Well, then I'm just going to introduce, Sergio Mendez. I said he's from TAG-ENV, and we'll be, helping. Tell me if I'm wrong about this, but giving us just a quick intro to the technical advisory group, basically what it is, what its goals are, uh, how maybe what some of the events are, right? Some of the one thing I didn't mention, Sergio, is that probably heard because you joined earlier that there were some questions about some of the projects that help with things like I had mentioned Kepler because it's the one I'm most familiar with,
Oh, yeah,
but
Kepler.
I believe that there are several, and then there are maybe just a little what's going on in that area, and they're like just how folks can get involved. Does that sound good?
Yeah, yeah, sounds good to me.
And we're eating pizza here. Don't mind us. We're still here with you.
Okay, just let me open something here. Okay, okay. A quick intro about TAG-M sustainability. Okay, so I think that well, in general, as the group, as the tag environmental say that the goal is to advocate, develop, support, evaluate environmental sustainability initiatives, like for example, check with which technology we can use to measure how much energy we are using on devices, how to be green in some way. Um, Recollect, let's say, different use cases in companies, universities, countries, etc., in the way to don't destroy the world, let's say, because we are using a lot of energy. We are looking also for how to reduce carbon emission. That's pretty important because has a close relationship with energy. How to reduce that carbon footprint. So we are exploring right now different projects like Kepler about how to measure that energy projects, or also we are trying to define documents to implement best practices about, for example, how to optimize to scale clusters. For example, I know that we are exploring also Knative and how you can use like um, ephemeral execution, like kind of lambdas of AWS or pretty similar projects. And this project also has relationship like with edge devices, hardware, and that kind of stuff. So that's the mission in general. We also have like different events that we are like, well, we have like we are trying to host a big event once a year, a week of focused on environmental sustainability. This is going to happen on October. I think that, as I remember, that New York participated last year there. Um, I participated in my group with Guatemala. So in this week, you can explore like it's like a kind of week of evangelism about environmental sustainability, explain what is environmental sustainability about, which projects, how you can implement environmental sustainability best practices. So in certain way, it's not like something that the people is exploring, but it's something new that we have to create documents be more specific about best practices and that things. So this group is like recollecting all these best practices from different perspectives, like companies, universities, etc., exploring software. I think that we also have some contact with some other groups in Linux Foundation about green computing stuff. And so we are like putting all the things together, join forces with different groups and people around the world with different perspective about how to implement software or solutions that doesn't produce more carbon for the environment and this kind of stuff. Um, so we also have like a landscape that we are working right now. Um, they are like we are exploring different projects, recollecting data. That's another important thing. We have to experiment, recollect data, compare how we are reducing the carbon emission compared with a regular implementation for projects. So we are recollecting these best practices. Um, and what else? Yeah, I think that if you can or if you want to contribute to this project, there are plenty of options there. For example, in my personal experience, I am contributing with well, we translated the website of tax sustainability into a Spanish language. So, for example, in the context of my country or in Spanish, Latin American, this kind of stuff, environmental sustainability is something new for us. So it's something new compared with North America and these kind of countries, compared with Europe and everything. So was like important to contribute in this way to share this knowledge to other countries. And right now we are working on translating this on Chinese. I know that right now they are working on the German language and in different language, and you can also contribute doing blog posts talking about environmental sustainability in different events like KubeCon, Cloud Native community groups, Kubernetes community days, and whatever you want. All the information is good for us to implement this, share with the people, and save the world in general. I think that's the goal. And also because you are like optimizing the way that you are using the energy, reducing the carbon footprint and everything, the companies are also reducing the costs. So it's like good for the companies too, good for the planet, good for the people. So the three P's, people and that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's in general the environmental sustainability. We have like an awesome team across the world. I'm in Guatemala. Leo is from Germany, and there are a lot of you are in New York, and there are a lot of people around the world. So it's pretty easy to start there. You can go to the CNCF website, check for the calendar, check for the environmental sustainability meetings. There are like working sessions. There are specific sessions for the events that are coming for this October, in order to spread the word, news, and everything, something similar. Um, and you can also go to the TAG-ENV sustainability website, of course, and check in the GitHub of the CNCF for the TAG-ENV sustainability, check for the issues, and start to contribute. I think that contribute for me for the TAG-ENV sustainability is pretty easy. It's like it's not a closet group or a closet project or a closet that advisory group. They are pretty open. If you want to share or contribute, they are pretty open to that. So don't get stressed that maybe it could be like a tag that is difficult or the people is close. It's not the case. They are pretty friendly. You could feel comfortable with that. Maybe it could be like your first time contributing to open source projects and could be nice for you too. So I am learning a lot from that. Also, I am trying to push some of my students because I am a professor too. Let's say that I have two jobs, DevOps engineer, also a professor, and I am trying to get involved with the students in this topic. And I think also for the academy, this topic is pretty interesting. So I think with the companies, people around, universities, we can do a lot of things for this topic and for CNCF and of course for the world, right? So yeah, that's in general my brief introduction to tag and sustainability. So
I really appreciate that, Sergio. Thank you. Can I ask you? So we, by the way, we have slides for all of this, but it seemed like since Sergio's dialing in, it would be nicer to actually talk face to face than like showing you a bunch of slides. And we can always do that, and we will actually send out a link post meetup with like this stuff info. We always do that, and we'll include this in them. But I have a question for you, Sergio, about the TAG-ENV has a contributor ladder. And it's a pretty well rendered like document in the GitHub in the Git repo for the tag. My question is, I'm going to read just the ladder steps out for folks real quick, and my question to you is, how functional do you think they actually are in reality? So, and like, where can people?
oh, sorry.
Oh, there you go.
I think that I am sharing the screen, right? You can see my screen.
Yeah, I was looking at like page. Yeah, exactly. Like this page and the next one, exactly.
Okay, so how it works is working on what is happening in reality to be transparent. I think that for me, comparing this tag with other tags or other working groups, well, if you don't know, CNCF have some structure. Like, for example, there are CNCF projects, there are technical advisory groups that covers some, let's say, generic topics, and they use working groups to work on more specific projects, right? Or more specific topics, right? So tag environmental sustainability covers in general the things of the energy, but we have like some leads. Well, like this slide mentions tag leads like Leo or Christina, the people that are more often in touch with them. And let's say that we work doing like weekly meetings. So Leo or Christina, depending who is available, they conduct the meeting. We are like opening, well, we have like an open schedule and they define like some schedule to work on it, and they are like open topics. So we started to discuss different topics, issues that are pending, and asking for project ideas and everything. And we follow up each week these projects or tasks that are pending. And because they are pretty active and really proactive, let's say, this project has like a pretty fast progress. I think that is that one of the fastest tasks that I have ever seen on CNCF, that are working constantly every day. You can see the repo that is moving every day. They are posting in the CNCF Slack every day, and it's moving so fast. For me, it's working. So as a contributor for TAG-ENV sustainability, the way that they manage this meeting, because they are pretty open and friendly, is easier for newcomers that wants to contribute to CNCF or get involved in something like, or maybe you are just trying to see or to experiment or to live the experience of being a contributor. So I think that this is a safe place, a place that where you can learn also, and nobody's going to judge you if you don't know how to do the things or everything. It's a good place to learn and contribute in the same way. So I think that in general works for me, and this one is pretty awesome people. I think that we are friends in this tag environmental sustainability tag. So that's the cool
Sergio,
thing. Yeah.
sorry, real quick. Well, as you wrap that part up, do you mind advancing to the next slide, just so
Okay.
people can start kind of like seeing it as you're, because I feel like you're talking about some of this stuff now. Yeah. Sorry to have interrupted you. You were
Okay.
saying that you're also friends, and it's a good group.
Yeah, so that is like that. Participating, go to the GitHub repository, taking ownership or responsibility, they are open. Like if you want to take some ticket or some issue, just go, right? And maybe Grauten's like, okay, I'm going to work on this or maybe in the GitHub repository. If you want to explore some specific topic, check the different projects, they have some milestones and tasks that they are working. You can explore that. For that, maybe you can get some visibility or started to know about what they are doing by participating in the weekly meetings. And then just be watching or checking what they are doing, what things are coming, or also you can propose new things, right? They are pretty open. Um, yeah, and different people is working on different stuff. Like for example, the sustainability week. I know Julia that is working on that because she has experience on this kind of events, and also Alessandro Bosa um, is working on this too. And yeah, so they are pretty open. So you can explore that by starting to go to the weekly meetings and this kind of stuff, right?
That's so awesome. Does anyone have any? I know we probably used up our question minds headspace for Anne, but if anyone has any other like specific questions now, just like maybe not
Yeah,
right now.
also maybe this one. Yeah.
I was I was just saying. I think you explained it really well. But yeah, this is a great slide.
Yeah, it's a great slide. I think that summarizes everything. Like we are looking to advocate for reduced carbon footprint, let's say. So the green reviews are more like, well, we have different projects. We are checking what we can do to achieve this goal, and communication, the Slack channel, right? And they have some working groups for news and etc. So if, for example, your stuff is not like investigate or push code or push comments, maybe you can just talk about TAG-ENV sustainability. So, for example, I started in that way, including the TAG-ENV sustainability in my talks, and now I am translating the website, right? So it's pretty nice. It's let's say that it's not like something as complicated as other projects or other groups. So it's pretty easy to start. So yeah, that's in general.
That's great. Are you?
Ah, this one, how to contribute if you want, like read the contribution guide or maybe ask on Slack. Explore the GitHub repository for the issues, right? Check the issues. Attempt to regular meetings, like weekly meetings. You can check the calendar of CNCF. Um, check Slack and GitHub. Contribute to the working groups. You can attempt the meetings. Help with the events that is going to happen in October. Share ideas or suggestions, right?
I have two questions.
Mhm.
So for the project Kepler, first of all, how has the community been receiving it overall? Have we seen adoption? Have we seen like what's the overall feedback of it?
Yeah, I think that, well, in general, I think that has like, I think that is the main project that the TAG-ENV sustainability is using right now. They move a lot around Kepler, right? So compared with another projects or initiatives, let's say, Kepler is really is pretty adopted in general. So I think that if you want to explore Kepler, this is a good way to start there. So yeah, I think that not like the main project, but it's one of the most used project to achieve these goals to measure the the footprint, etc. So also depends on the perspective about what do you want to measure, right? For example, because this time M sustainability has some intersection with another tax, like the tax about I think that is um run environments or something like that. I don't remember the name of the tag, and has some close relationship with age and that kind of stuff. So it depends how do you want to measure the energy. So in that way, it's going to depend which software are you going to use. But right now, they are, let's say that they are tackling more in that context. So Kepler is the focus right now. But if other in the group has like some specific use case, people that is working in other project, I think that is going to appear like the second project that they are moving a lot and everything. So they are starting right now a moving Kepler, right? But that doesn't mean that Kepler is like the unique thing that you can use, or is like the thing that all the people is using right now. Is like they are starting working on that, right?
I'm actually not super sure about what the status of the project is in terms of adoption. I'd like to know though. So maybe
Yeah.
I can
So
follow up on, with folks here.
yeah, I think that in general, this topic is more not like research, but a little bit. So I think that the focus right now is Kepler, but maybe in the future or in some months they are going to explore another stuff, right? So that's the idea in the step number 7. Share suggestions and ideas, right? If you have an idea that maybe we can explore. So I think that academic people has another perspective, so could be like nice to have this kind of opinions too. But in
Awesome.
general, Kepler is moving around, right?
Where's the event in October?
Let's say that this event, the way how it works is like, for example, New York want to participate, right? So okay, New York is going to host the Clown A Sustainability Week. So you have to set the date to do the event. This tag is going to provide you with general slides about the project and everything you want. And you have to schedule or invite some speakers to talk about topics about the M sustainability. Like in my experience, we included 3 topics the last year, like, for example, how to optimize cluster scaling using Carpenter from AWS. And the other topic was Knative, about how you can reduce the energy consumption using ephemeral execution. And I talk about K3S, that is a pretty small Kubernetes that run on edge devices, and how you can optimize that to reduce energy consumption when running things on edge devices, right? So it depends on the topics that you are moving. So
Thank you. That's really
just
helpful.
that. Mhm.
Bill,
I'm going to ask about the relationship between this tag and the various projects that are in CNCF or maybe generally in the Linux Foundation. Is there anything you want to say about how hard it or easy it's been to get ubiquitous projects to adopt carbon reviews? As in, are there projects that have resisted? Are there obstacles that are not necessarily conscious obstacles, but things that make it harder for projects to accept this? And is there anything that you've picked up on in terms of whether the maintainers of a project are asking for this and inviting this kind of benchmarking and measurement versus whether somebody from the outside raises their hand and says, I want to contribute this, who's not a maintainer already? Can you kind of like shed some light on some of those dynamics?
Yeah, let's say, well, as I know, Leo, well, Leo knows more about this, but in general, I heard about Leo, that is like one of the leaders of this tag. Um, is well, right now we are looking, or they are working, or we are working like recollecting data, right? Organizing data, defining documents with standards, and asking the different projects if it's interesting for there to adopt this thing. So, in other words, also for the CNCF, is a topic that they want to explore. So they are putting energy, putting people on this, putting focus on this. So as you know, that CNCF is like helping open source project. The move for CNCF is like trying to push that open source project start to adopt or focus more on how to reduce energy consumption, right? So it's something that is in progress, it's something that is in adoption. So it's in, maybe we can say about talking about the state of art is the beginning, right? So it's the beginning of everything. But
Like,
we have like, I don't know, a year with this tag M sustainability. Yeah, more or less. So, well, a year and we are growing a lot. So that's the cool thing about the sustainability week, the part of evangelism, right? If the people start to know about this topic, is going to explore how to implement this in different projects, right? So we are in some initial phases, more or less, but maybe you can ask Leo about more specific stuff. Yes, because they know like the complete roadmap, and we are open to suggestions and everything, exploring. Yeah.
I'm actually sending you a link right now, Sergio, with the so on the if you feel like sharing it for a moment, maybe that's the best way to do this. On the tag, if you just like type into Google TAG-ENV, tag environmental sustainability or anything like that, this website will come up, and it comes right from the Git repo. But it is there's a page called the landscape, the cloud
Oh, yeah,
native.
landscape.
Yeah, I just sent it to you on Slack. But yeah, it's good because it has a summary of
Yeah, different projects.
yeah, and the translations that you're talking about. I think you all may have translated some of these into Spanish. I can't remember, but there's a
Yeah, here's the landscape, right? Yeah.
yeah, it's fairly long, and it gives you all the things you could want. I think like you can look at the table of contents on the side, and what you were talking. I think what was being asked about earlier is under the current sustainable cloud computing landscape. That shows, that shows really, I mean, even a flow chart, but just a list as well of projects and initiatives that are going on. And I think, Bill, you were asking about what kinds of tools you were asking about that could be used. I think you were talking about more like soft tools, like maybe how to help convince your organization and things like that. There's a lot of information in this document about that. Foundations of sustainable cloud computing, challenges of it, challenges of carbon energy accounting, layers of the solution, et cetera. So that, and then the current development and all of that stuff. So that can really, and we'll add that in the follow up.
Yeah, I think that, well, like adding a little bit about, yeah, this is the landscape, but as I mentioned, it's in progress, right? So, for example, if we focus in some point, this document is going to reflect that perspective of we are thinking right now. So that's the important thing about giving ideas, suggestions, and this is like the initial document, let's say. So
Am I hearing you say like you can so for example you could contribute to that document, like you could read through it and say, well, what about this question, or here's some other ideas, and you could open up a pull request directly from this page. I think, like if you
yeah. What else? Yeah, that's the thing about, well, the name technical advisory group. It's a technical group. Like, check if the things that we are putting this make sense, right? If it's valid, we have data to say, okay, we have to include this or not. So that's part of the group, right? Like, check the links, check the information, create documents that make sense and has theory support, valid use cases, and everything, right? It's like a kind of, not a research group, but it moves a lot of doing research, right? Or recollecting experiences from other people that maybe they know, okay, we have to include this and other stuff, right? So that's the important thing of contribution, to create something open, right? including the ideas of different countries, continents, because we have different needs, right?
Mm-hmm. That's a big question.
Okay.
So my question is like a lot of the work you're doing is related to editorial and translation. Have you adopted using like OpenAI to do some of those to help you on day to day?
Let's say, well, in terms of contribution, the last time we have like a discussion about, for example, auto translate the stuff, but OpenAI is not like 100% correct and everything. So in some way we can use OpenAI, but in other way we also continues need volunteers to give information, maybe just OpenAI to give format, right? Or maybe to explore topics, but we have to validate, right? Maybe OpenAI can give you ideas, but we have to validate, right?
Yeah,
That's
I
the
could
point.
see. I could personally. I could see. I mean, not that I'm didn't really answer this question, but I could see there being a model developed specifically around
Mhm.
some of these initiatives. You know, like let's just say even like there's an overlapping diagram of like green technology that has
Mhm.
nothing to do with computing whatsoever, right? And then one circle, and there's another overlapping circle and a Venn diagram of like technology, you know, huge topics, and they overlap, and then within that, all this other stuff happens. You know, there's policy, there's software, there's you know. So I think that like a model could be made for some subset of those things, maybe share. I mean, I'm not really sure where it would be most effective, but let's just say some subset of that, right? And we could then, if folks are interested, we could then train that. Because like you said, it's not really perfect or correct necessarily, especially if it doesn't really get the concepts. Especially if, you know, AI really kind of gets better and better at understanding concepts, the more you train it, and it's based on source material. And for this kind of initiative, there isn't other source material. This is the source material. So we kind of, I think ultimately we would need to like go through a process of training. And yeah, I think anybody really interested in that, that would be pretty cool. I know some folks that are doing that kind of thing with other CNCF projects, like Flux. There's an AI model that's continuing to be trained to help give people an understanding of how to best GitOps their workloads, their infrastructure. You know, you can ask questions, and it's getting pretty good. It's getting better and better at like giving you better and better advice about that. So I know that's happening.
I think in LF networking has a natural language processing initiative project that's kicking off. Old Scour.
Yeah, that could be a good alignment, right? Between like, because ultimately we're all doing these kinds of things, at least these initiatives under Linux Foundation, CNCF's under Linux Foundation, Open Source Summits under Linux Foundation, some of the other stuff with some of these other projects are, so that'd be a good alignment.
Also, so we talked a lot about the Linux Foundation, but if anyone isn't familiar, my co-founder, so there's the IBM Meta AI Alliance, which is another relatively new, it was announced in December. But there's a bunch of open source greatness coming out of all the research institutions that are partnering with LF. So yeah, just keep an eye out on the IBM Meta AI Alliance as well. So there's a lot of greatness coming up.
That's awesome.
And also in the LF, there's also a data and AI foundation within LF. So we'll be contributing to a lot of those initiatives.
Was that what you were talking about, or were you talking about mainly an LLM? Or
Natural language processing, I think what you're describing is an LLM layer on documents to provide more interactive stuff. I'll definitely curious about the other stuff that's coming out of. I know Meta, especially Yama, is one of the
Really interesting
open source models that come out.
It requires a lot of compute to run locally, so just, you know, I think the 120 billion parameter model needs like, you know, a bunch of RAM, but
you get really good stuff with even the smaller.
with the smaller ones.
so maybe it'll even out by the time you know, we get the AI to help us tell us how to save energy. Then we can maybe eventually catch up to all the energy we spent on making it.
But I think we need to use the cloud for all that stuff, which might seem
That's the vision, by the way. That is the vision.
Yeah.
Take up to AGI so we can fix all the damage we've done.
Exactly. Yes.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Well, Are there any other questions folks had? I feel really happy about this, by the way, and I also want to say, I don't know if all of you are on CNCF Slack, but if you're not, please get on there, because then we can also talk in real time about this kind of stuff. It's just you go to slack.cncf.io and you can self-sign up. You don't have to have somebody, approve you or anything like that.